Hi everybody, and welcome back to another 5th grade math video lesson. I'm Mr. Manella, and joining me, as he always does, is my assistant Stu, who's wearing a hat for some reason. What's with the hat, buddy?
It has a Philly fanatic on it. He's a hero of mine.
And a worthy hero he is. Can you even see with that thing on? It's a little big for you.
Yeah, not really. But it's the sacrifice I'm willing to make to support one of the all-time greats.
Believe me, I understand. He is a legend. Okay.
Yeah, and my second cousin.
Really?
Yeah, look at those noses.
I can see a bit of a family resemblance.
Yeah,
I didn't
on
know
the flamingo side.
I didn't know you were related to royalty.
I contain multitudes.
Can you introduce me?
Play your cards right. How much Takis you got?
How much you want? They're not very expensive.
Oh.
I'm willing to buy like 4 family-sized bags if you can introduce me to the Philly fanatic.
Will you also clean my pool?
What if I just dumped it out and like sandblasted it and then filled it with water again?
Yeah.
You would accept that?
Totally.
I think I can do that.
Yeah.
I got a friend who can let me borrow a sandblaster.
Sweet.
All right. So, can we get to the math?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Okay. Because today we're going to focus on expanded form for decimals. Do you remember how expanded form works with numbers?
It was when we pulled numbers apart, like slime, right?
Yes, but with decimals, things are a little bit different. Because things are always a little bit different with decimals. So let's take a look. Okay, so here we have a decimal. How would we write that decimal in expanded form? Well, we start with our addition sentence or expression just like we do with whole numbers. How many digits are there? Don't count the 0 in the ones place.
All right, not counting that 0, 3.
Right, so we need 3 spaces in our addition sentence for expanded form, like this. Just like with whole numbers, when we get the expanded form of a decimal, we write the value of each digit on its own line. The major difference is that for every digit, the decimal point has to come with it.
Explain.
Well, is that 8 worth 8?
I don't think so. It isn't in the ones place.
Right, it's in the tenths place, which means it is worth 8 tenths. That's what we write on the first line, like this.
Oh.
What's the next digit?
It's a 5, and it's in the hundredths place.
It certainly is. That means 5 hundredths goes in the next line. That looks like this. See how I use the 0 to hold my tenths place open?
Yes, I see it, but I'm not sure why.
I put a 0 there because the value of the 5 is 5 hundredths by itself. There are no tenths.
Well, wait a minute, hold on. Does that mean the 2, which is in the thousandths place, is going to have a 0 in the tenths and the hundredths place?
It does! And don't forget your decimal point. It'll look like this.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
So, does this mean that we get the value of a decimal? It always has to have a decimal point?
Yes, that's an excellent question, and that absolutely is true. It always has to have a decimal point because decimal place values involve decimals. Who'd have thought? Okay, let's take a look here. Yeah, it is. Sometimes the obvious answer is just right in front of you, you know? Okay, so here's the decimal we're going to look at, okay? It's 0.496 or 496 thousandths, okay? So if I wanted to get the value of the underlying digit, let's say I underline the 9, okay? And I want to get the value of the 9, all I got to do, keep my decimal in the same place, all right? Bring down my 9, keep that in the same place, and turn everything between my 9 and the decimal into a 0. And that's it. I'm going to move my decimal down a little bit because it's not quite lined up right, and now it's better, okay? So that's it. 9 hundredths, 0.09. That's how I get the value of the underlying digit.
Oh. Do you have to put a 0 in front of the decimal point?
You can if you want to, but you don't have to, no.
Oh. Gotta make sure that's lined up right, huh?
You do. But like if the ones place had, you know, even if the ones place had something else in it, like a 4, you could, or a 7, you still wouldn't need to put a 0 here. You would turn it into 0, but you can ignore it. When doing expanded form for decimals, you don't need anything in the ones place.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if the underlying digit is in the thousandths place?
That would be here, yeah.
So you have zeros in the tenths and the hundredths place.
Exactly. So I'm going to erase that one, and it's going to look, I'll keep my decimal because I can just reuse that. I'm going to put a 0 here and a 0 here, and my 6 is going to stay as 6.
Oh, so you just line them up and drop it down.
Pretty much 6 thousandths is the value of this 6. There are no tenths or hundredths in the value.
Oh,
Okay.
and if the underlying digit is in the tenths place,
Yeah.
just to be thorough,
Please.
it's just
yes.
the decimal point and the digit.
Correct.
No zeros to put in there.
Nope, don't need any. I mean, you can put zeros at the end if you want, but you don't need them.
No.
There. 4 tenths. Okay?
Oh, this is a lot, Mr. Manella.
It is, but it's important to learn because it helps you understand what decimal place value is. And actually, I said you could put zeros at the end, but you know what? That's not true because this isn't 4 tenths anymore. What is it?
400,000.
Exactly. It's not. It is worth the same, but we wouldn't say it the same. So if we want just the value of the 4, we would just go 4 tenths. But you could still put a 0 here. That's exactly the same. It's still 4 tenths, but you don't need it. Okay, so let's let 0 hang out. 0's done a lot of work for us lately. Let's have it take a day off. In this case, it's
good job, 0.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so to recap, expanded form with decimals is when you stretch out the decimal to make an addition sentence, okay? And you give each digit in the decimal its own decimal place value. And to do that, you keep the decimal in the same place and the digit in the same place, and you fill in any places between the decimal and the digit with zeros. So for the tenths place, you're not going to fill in any extra zeros. For the hundredths place, you'll fill in 1 extra 0 in the tenths place. And for the thousandths place, you'll fill in 2 extra zeros, 1 in the tenths place and 1 in the hundredths place. Okay? Got it?
Got it. This concludes our video lesson. See you next time.
Hey, that's my line.
Not anymore.
We're going to discuss this off camera. Bye, everybody.